The following is an interview with Ashwin Jain, who's an IIT pass out, who's a serial entrepreneur, and who's now beginning his entrepreneurial career in Canada. If you're an entrepreneur, I would request you in this episode to be humble and to get into student mode and to learn from Mr. Ashwin Jain, who started a series of digital tech startups and who knows the game very well from idea to execution. This is a time to listen and gain that valid experience that you would never gain anywhere else. I hope you just tune in and listen to Ashwin for the next 45 minutes for some great insights on entrepreneurship. Let's go. So, hi friends, this is Jude here with Mr. Ashwin Jain, who is an entrepreneur based in Canada, who has his own YouTube channel, Breaking Bad in Canada, a channel that is constantly moving and morphing. And Mr. Ashwin is an entrepreneur focused on sales tech. A brief note about Ashwin is that he is from IIT Kanpur, and he's a very good friend of mine, very intelligent person, man of great initiative, really a person which I've seen has been intent that he is only going to do entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship alone. And I'm sure he's on his way to great things. Today, we are going to spend some time with him and learn from him. We've got some good questions that we would like to ask him. So if you want to learn things, this is the place to tune in and learn from the best people. All right. So, hi, Ashwin. It's been great having you on this show. It's been so long. It's been around 5 years.
Yeah, hi, Jude. Same here. Very nice to see you again.
So, for our viewers, could you just let us know in brief, a couple of lines about you from your childhood, your influences, everything which led you up to IIT and post IIT, everything.
Okay. Yeah, so I think since childhood, I remember I have always been interested in maths. That was my strongest subject. So before 10th standard, I wasn't doing too good in studies, but in 10th and 12th, in 11th and 12th, I really started shining. And that's how I got into IIT. And since IIT, I just did a job for 1.5 years. And like you said, I've been interested in startups since a very long time. So I ventured on my own. And mostly I work on my own startup and also other people's startups as a consultant. Actually, software consultant. So I'm also a developer, software developer. And that's my brief history.
That's amazing, actually. It's great to hear you, about how your childhood went at a certain pace, and then 11th and 12th, you just stepped it up a notch. And, what they call as a late bloomer, actually, you're an amazing example for what it is, and then you went all the way up to IIT, right? Great, Ashwin. So what is the latest thing you are in the process of working on nowadays?
So nowadays I'm in Canada, as you know, so I'm working on a startup here. So I just started around 1 month ago, and I started without an idea. So it is taking me some time to do market research and also reaching out to investors. So in short, there's this, I don't know what the name of the company is or the idea is, but there's definitely something that I call a startup, and I'm building it up and making it a success.
Great. So you are in the initial stages of
Yeah.
starting a company, right? It's great that I've gotten a chance to meet a person in your stage right now, actually. So Canada, how is Canada for founders and for startups in general, or for Indians
Yeah.
in general?
Yeah, I think Canada is pretty good compared to, like, people compare it with USA. So some of the better good things are like it's safe, there's no gun violence, and there's also some racism is an issue for a lot of immigrants. So there's no racism in Canada compared to USA. And salaries are low compared to USA, and also startups potential to become big is lower, but to get started, I don't think it's harder here. It's still, I think, probably better than India to get started. To get big will get challenge, and for that, people go to USA and travel to USA.
Uh-huh. That's amazing. Amazing to hear, all the good points of Canada. Canada's more accepting of us Indians and so on. Directly, Salesforce, Marketo Engage, HubSpot CRM, Zoho, and the like are already famous applications, with regard to sales technology. how can you develop a product that stands out in this extremely tough climate?
Yeah, I think because every time there's some technological shift, new products come up. And before Salesforce, there was a company called Cbell, which was already in that big player in that market. And with the internet technology as it came, Salesforce was able to disrupt and shift the market in its favor. And I think similarly with the new AI thing coming up, and AI is becoming very hot now and developing very quickly. Many of these platforms will be probably find a hard time to keep up because they already have a lot of baggage. People are already using it in a
Okay.
certain way. They have built-in APIs and modules, and so yeah, that is where I think a company which is building over AI something something over AI can take an advantage.
Okay. So the unique factor would be AI, right?
Yeah, I
That
think so.
makes we stand out from other sales platforms. Okay. That's great. I just want to ask actually, like my channel is for entrepreneurs. There are many entrepreneurs which I expect, to be watching this in the days to come. And I want to just ask them, what would you tell entrepreneurs, young founders, budding entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs, non-entrepreneurs who are basically considering entrepreneurship, you know, what would you tell them with regard to whether or not they should incorporate sales technology into their selling system? You know, what they're doing right now, how do you add sales tech into that?
So this is an interesting question because it maybe the answer depends on where they are. So sometimes in India, a lot of things are so cheap. The labor is so cheap. Sometimes the software we sell here in Canada or USA is more expensive. So here in Canada, people buy software for $100 a month to $1,000 a month. Maybe in India, someone can hire someone to automate some of the tasks. But I think the decision in the end is always like try something and never shy away from trying something. Try it out, and if it helps, then keep it, because ultimately growth is more important than saving money.
Okay, great. So you think, using sales tech like Salesforce, Zoho, and all, being an entrepreneur, being anyone, like even a flower seller or anything, this would actually help you in any way, like would help a regular entrepreneur, since your customers are generally going to be entrepreneurs anyway at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, if so, you are asking like, will Salesforce help small entrepreneurs if they
Yeah,
incorporate?
exactly. Small entrepreneurs or any entrepreneur, like they could be in any business, but
Yeah,
you
I
know,
think
the,
the answer, of course, depends on the person to person. But I think what I try to say is like, uh, it may have some initial cost to implement a system. A- And as an entrepreneur, it's important to try out things instead of just getting worried about the initial cost where there's no return. So it's again like entrepreneur is like it can be a big risk that you take a big business idea, and it can be small risks where you try out a small product which will probably take you 5,000 rupees a month of initial investment, but probably it will save you in the sense that it will get more than 1 lakh rupees per month of extra sales, you know,
okay.
and that's how it can come back. Now, coming exactly to the sales force, how it works is when you're trying to uh, grow your business, and for most business, it's about getting more and more customers. So,
Mhm.
uh, maybe trying to reach out to more than, or trying to engage more than 5 to 10 customers at a time, or prospects at a time, then it already starts to become messy in your head, and that
Exactly.
becomes a little bit of a bottleneck there, that you, because of that stress, you are not able to reach out to more people because you're not able to track who, what information to send to whom, when, you know. And let's say if you can scale it to like 100 people at a time, then of course more of your more prospects will convert, you'll, and for that, to engage 100 people at a time, you have to organize everything, and for that I think this software like Salesforce help.
That's amazing. Actually, it sounds very good. It sounds very good. Uh, in India, most sales and dealerships function in a traditional system. That is, they either meet their clients in their shop or they phone up their clients and do not incorporate technology for sales. Do you foresee, a gold rush? Like you're in North America right now. A gold rush is when people rush in for something like. will they rush into technology to generate multiple clients, and everyone is going to accelerate that business? Do you foresee a time like that where all business are going to go, man, I want Zoho, I want Salesforce, I want sales tech to run my company and my sales?
I do not know why. If you're saying that they do not incorporate already, then I do not know why. Maybe um, because like you said, they engage traditionally with the customers through showrooms. But once a customer comes to the showroom, and then he's already, already to some extent that he's interested in your product, whatever you're selling in that showroom. So say technology like Salesforce and Zoho, they are used to engage like these people through emails, through sending them more information, brochures, something tempting, and so Salesforce has many modules. So one of those modules can be that you just take numbers of all the people who visited your showroom and then just keep on sending them more offers, more information at a certain schedule. And that will definitely, if you engage like 1,000 people like that, instead of just missing out on them, like if you do not track them through some software system and do not engage them again, then they will probably forget and maybe move on with their life. So definitely it can help more. And maybe Indian, like you said, entrepreneurs or small business owners, they look at other people to first see what they can take inspiration. So maybe it is just missing out on an inspirational wave, or maybe also there's some fundamental issue that maybe they do not get as much footfall that they require to maintain so many conversations at a time.
Okay.
So yeah.
I was just thinking, actually, I wanted to ask a question out of the blue, out of the box, and everything. Actually, since we're discussing about AI and also sales tech. Coming from a non-tech guy, for me, the when I see tech, I think of fiction, science fiction, or something like that. Something interesting, something playful. So, is there going to be a time, in your field, in particularly your area of interest, actually sales tech, where sales tech is going to be the be all and end, it's going to control the world in the sense, I want to ask a question. If there's going to be an AI software and algorithm that's going to literally track every single human being, give them products which are suited for their needs, according to their time, according to their festivals, according to when they wake up or sleep, or they're sick or they're sad, or they're going to be married or a breakup. Uh, they're going to like link, shops with this thing. Do you think there's going to be a network like that, or some kind of an ecosystem, digital ecosystem like that?
Yeah, sure. Like, I don't know how much time it will take, but it can happen like what you're describing, because we already at that, like whatever technology is enabling, we are implementing it. So there's already like remarketing, and if you see ads some in some place in some product in Amazon, then if you go to Facebook, it will show you same ad. And so
Oh, gosh.
uh, so that is already happening to some extent. And yes, it will get smarter, and definitely it will, as it get smarter, it will do all the things that you said.
Uh-huh. So they're stalking us, effectively, right?
Yeah, sort of. In fact, the product I'm also planning to build will be like that only, but not stalking you, but stalking the celebrities and big guys, CEOs and CTOs.
Okay, that's great. Actually, that's great. Sounds nice. Sounds nice. So, for a complete novice, talking about entrepreneurs, for a complete novice who's seeking to learn AI and machine learning, perhaps even myself, a person with no goals or specific knowledge with regard to AI, what is a good way? Okay, I could learn step by step how to enter into the AI space and become AI literate, AI proficient, AI expert. For a person who is right now, like a no code person who has not coded anything in his life.
Okay,
What do you
so
think?
it's hard for me to answer from that perspective because I have not been in that shoes. So I have not really explored how good the no-code platforms are doing nowadays. Mm, but at the same time, like AI has, like as I have discussed with a lot of people and myself, I have observed it has two levels or two. One is like deep, like this is how my one of my friends described to me, and I think this is the right way to describe. One is like deep AI, which involves a lot of maths, and and that part is about building the models which people at OpenAI or Google Brain are working, and
Okay.
probably less than 1,000 people in the world are working on that part as of now. are able to work on that part in a corporate setting, because it requires
Deep
a lot of
learning,
investment in, yeah,
right?
investment in infrastructure, and also a very deep mathematical background. But there's also a light AI, which is about using their products to, like, whatever they make, then they expose it like a product like ChatGPT, and then you can use those products as a building block for your own product. So now at ChatGPT, you don't have to make ChatGPT like system or ChatGPT itself, but you can use ChatGPT to integrate it in your website and do something with it. So that is,
Uh-huh.
I think, and everybody can aspire to do. And uh, again, it will require some coding, but nowadays people are able to use ChatGPT itself to ask, are able to ask ChatGPT itself to write code, you know.
Mhm.
And I've seen some person who, like you described, some person who is not a technical person, but he created a small demo, and the entire code he was able to write by asking ChatGPT to write in small bits and pieces.
Uh-huh.
So
That's great, actually. That's great. One thing actually about AI and everything, is there going to be an AI bubble the way there was a dot-com bubble and there was a saturation of the Android, iOS market, everything? Is there going to be an AI bubble?
so bubble is a term which is used for over expectation and under delivery, but it is also so not from a consumer perspective. It's more from an investor perspective, that investors invest and then they get burst. So I don't know whether it will be, because it has nothing to do with the technology, how it is evolving, or I think it's just a kind of combined psychology of people. So that can go in any direction anytime, like there's no control over, and there's no logic to it, right? uh,
I
so
understand.
right, but at the same time, AI as a technology is definitely already doing decent, and it will keep on getting better, and I think it will keep on getting better. Now already it has been improving at a very fast rate, and I think that rate will continue.
Okay. So you think technology will make room for better markets, like the more technology improved, AI will also continue. Okay, so you don't see it as a static thing like the dot-com boom. Okay, this is dot-com, so everyone started their own dot-com, and
No, but even so, that's what I want to mention here, that even during .com, it was a genuine technological shift, and a lot of companies did actually get created, like Amazon and even Salesforce. And but only thing is that it was like investors put in more money than it was required, so investors had to had
okay,
lot. But of course, a lot of companies did genuine companies did get built in that period.
okay, yeah, yeah. So basically, some companies actually withstood the test of time, through that bubble and so forth. Okay. I just wanted to ask, some questions actually, which from my field, if it actually gets some relevance or some traction in your thing. Actually, personally, I'm from the field of filmmaking, design, marketing, and music and so on. Actually, I'm a musician. Netflix and Instagram has disrupted my entire field in completely different ways, so it's unrecognizable, right?
The,
In a basic way, uh, am I right in saying Instagram is also a form of sales tech? Would you say that, or is it a no?
Okay, so yeah, you can say that, but there's only small cash or small correction there, that it's a marketing tech. So there's a difference between sales and marketing, and I define sales as something that you initiate and you as a and probably do on a one-to-one basis. You know.
Okay, okay. So I just want to also ask you, with regard to the media field, with regard to things like Netflix, Insta, and all these media apps and all, uh, kind of not exactly nitty gritty, but from an imaginative perspective, how do you envision the future of media consumption? Is it going to be like, or I don't want to give you any options, but you may have a better view as a techie. How do you think people are going to watch movies? How do you think people are going to listen to songs? Or are these things going to even exist, movies and songs, or they are going to move into 30-second segments of I don't know
Yeah,
what?
I think already, like of course, people, one thing people have seen, and we have seen all, that short form is much more engaging than the long form, and especially it is possible short form because nowadays there's so much, like millions of people are creating it. So it, short form would not have worked if it was very few content creators, but because of the such huge entropy and such huge diversity of people, variety of people creating content, so there's no shortage of 1 second clips which are interesting, or two, like I don't know, 1 second is probably too small, but 10 second or 260 seconds clips which are actually engaging, and now there's such huge number of these clips that a person can spend actually 5 hours just watching 10 seconds clips one after another. But I don't know if it can go smaller than that, because it can, because it takes of course some time to get someone's attention, and then to create a setup and then a punchline, or some kind of punch, delay, whatever it is called, setup and payoff, you know so of
Yeah,
course
yeah,
it
yeah,
will
yeah.
not get shorter than that, but but what I think it can become more of, which people are trying to explore, but right now it's still not success, but some kind of 3D content.
Okay. So it can go into that dimension also, not just smaller and smaller, but it can expand into 3D holograms. I don't know. You
Yeah,
know,
some kind of
yeah.
which has more, more, like maybe right now it's just a video in 2D, maybe something that can have more, uh, I don't know, 3D, and also you can touch maybe, or you can interact, some more
That's
interactive in that. Yeah.
uh-huh. That's amazing. Actually, it's great to hear this. Actually, you know, I just wanted to ask. Actually, into sales tech. Right now when you ask someone from who's using Salesforce or Zoho CRM, for me, like to give a small analogy, there used to be a computer long back called the ENIAC, or computers that used to take up like whole rooms. Okay, or someone a little bit more recent. Actually, when I was a kid, people used to do MS DOS. They used to sit and do something actually, and then there used to be a line of these are your files, and then you have to choose the file. You have to type again the whole name actually. And now it became very interactive completely. I perhaps Steve Jobs or Jobs or Microsoft might have just changed the whole game by introducing the concept of Windows, and Windows started on Mac first. So I wanted to ask actually, can elements of aesthetic, branding, art be incorporated into sales tech? For example, Canva, right? Isn't a sales tech art app, but has democratized design. Before, people used to design on Photoshop, Illustrator, which are very complex tools. And Canva is used by salespeople who have not used a core design app like Adobe, the Adobe series. What do you think from your perspective? What is the scope for art in sales tech? How can it commercialize the thing, or design? Can it commercialize sales tech and
Mm.
democratize it?
So I think again there's a difference between sales tech and marketing tech, or sales and marketing. So I the way I see it, of course, I see sales as one-to-one communication between two people, a prospect and a person who's trying to sell.
Hmm.
And of course, he can use some of these design tools to create some collateral. It is called collateral, which is like a brochure or a uh, maybe infographic. But usually, as of now, the way it works in the industry is like they have a supporting team to do all of that, and they don't do it themselves, because it is assumed that salespeople are very good with talking with people, and also aggressive in reaching out to people, making themselves uncomfortable in some situations like cold calling.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
that is their core expertise area, instead of, they're not like artists who are designers or something. So they have a team to support them, and I think that team will not be called a sales team, but I think the closest it will align with will them some kind of marketing team.
Okay. So, do you feel that there will be a blur between these two words, actually, sales and marketing, because we have the tools right now, right, like on the horizon, that previously sales, cold calling, Wall Street, like we see in the movies, and there's another field completely called marketing. Do you think these two worlds are going to collide in some way through technology?
I mean, you're saying that they will become the same. It was just, I mean, it's up to you how you look at
Overlap.
it. You can even think now it is the same thing, but it's only that I am making that distinction. uh,
Mhm.
but I'm sure it can be like someone sending their video, which is an interactive, some kind of AI machine, which is like a robotic video, which can just talk to you like I'm talking to you, and then it can seem like it's doing sales to you in real time. Uh, so yeah, maybe it can, you can call it, but then I will still call it marketing, because even though it looks like you're selling one to one and it through a video, but because sales is more of a bottleneck thing, it's not a preferred, it's not a usually preferred, like everybody wants to do marketing and do it, because marketing is more efficient than sales. Sales is more of a thing that is not done by choice, but it is done out of compulsion or something, that, oh, here's a prospect who can give you millions of dollars, but it's not easy to engage him by just sending some photographs. So I will track him down, I will go where he is, try to meet him through events and all, and try
Okay.
to just get small, by putting all of this, my entire body in motion, just get 30 seconds of his time, is what sales
That.
is.
Uh-huh.
So it's
Yes.
not really something that you do by choice. It's something that you have to do.
Yeah, I understand actually. I can understand, that you're also in the selling phase actually of really going to people and actually stepping in the shoes of a salesman while making sales tech itself. So great actually. So something closer to home. I want to speak to Ashwin Jain, the IIT student. When I was young, there was immense pressure to do JEE and AEEE at that time and get into an IIT or NIT or some college which was in Anna University of Tamil Nadu. Right? So since I'm speaking with an IIT graduate, I'm privileged to learn a lot from you. What advantage is there in studying IIT in comparison to NITs, VITs, or BITS? What is the IIT magic or the secret sauce of IIT?
I think for me personally, I benefited a lot by going to IIT. Now, because I have not gone to NIT, I don't know if I would have gotten the same benefit if I was from NIT.
Uh,
But for me, in India, so right now I'm in Canada, so here also I'm getting benefited actually. But I think the biggest thing is
yeah,
the network. Like there are people from IIT who are very successful, and they treat you with some kind of compassion, in the sense that they kind of think that you're part of that ecosystem and you're part of their own.
okay.
So just like you may have heard of like Guju community, just like that there's an IoT community, and at least they get some kind of recognition, give each other some kind of recognition and some kind of respect. So that always helps a lot. And
Okay.
second is, of course, in this is again in India, that you can open up or get a lot of people to soften up if you just say that I'm from IIT. And so, even from small things to big things, like small things like like I went to, for example, get some driving license done. So the person who was taking driving test, he was pretty impressed by me being an IIT, and then his son was also preparing, so he became a little softer. So things like that. And there's like a lot of places we get this advantage. And
Hmm.
more from entrepreneurship perspective, uh, right now a lot of these investors and the successful entrepreneurs in India, the first generation, are actually from IIT, and they give some undue advantage to other IITs. So it's almost like a mafia. So it's a
Yeah,
thing they have made, but at least for me, I've been the beneficiary, so I can say it's a good thing for me.
yeah. I understand. Actually, I mean, there's naturally going to be. I suspected, this, and there's naturally going to be some kind of community feeling and some kind of benefit. Like that comes with the tribe. Uh,
Right.
and is this, are is does this happen only among people of your college, IIT Kanpur, or among all the IITs in general? You mean
So,
to say it's from all the
it depends upon like context to context. So if it usually depends among all, but of course within the same college is better. So for example, in Indian startup
IITs?
ecosystem, IT Delhi guys were the first movers, because of, I think, the location
Okay.
advantage. So Flipkart, Snapdeal, a lot of the initial Zomato, most of these, they were IIT Delhi founders. So 70 to 80% of the people who got funding initially were actually for a very like long number of years were IT Delhi graduates. So of course they get more community recognition, but in general also on a wider scale also, but IITians recognize they gravitate towards each other, and so both
That's
like right.
that's nice actually. That's so nice to hear actually. You know what? Fine. So, what personal development going into, especially your semesters at IIT? 8 semesters, if I'm not wrong, right? So, what personal development or exposure do IIT students get during the years?
So that's a good question and interesting observation for me when I went there. Like I expected that everybody will be all about studies and they will be mostly studying all the time and that's all they will be doing. But actually, once people get inside IIT, then for 95% of the people, studies are the lowest priority. So they do like a lot of things, and everybody tries to pick up one or another thing that they try to excel in, which is not studies. Like someone will be doing music, someone will be doing sports, someone will be doing drama, and good thing, interesting thing, and that is how I found it very interesting and different from school. Like in school, only people who were studying good were getting recognition, but in IIT, everybody gets recognition, everybody gets respect for doing whatever they do good, basically. So if you are just also, you know, cooking in IIT, maybe you have found some kind of cooking club and you're cooking well, then people will recognize you for it and will respect you for it.
Uh-huh. So it's a big mystery for me because like IIT students, with the exception of AIMS, you guys are considered to be the bookworms or the most studious uh, 0.5% or 0.1% in the whole of India. How is it that even within IIT you're able to? I'm hearing actually even from the books, the novels, and the movies also that IIT, especially there was a movie based on IIT which was what was 5 point someone. It was sorry,
Yeah, 3 idiots.
Three
Yeah.
Idiots, right? Right. So how is there so much of a variety? How do you guys get the time to actually breathe and live? And there's evidence that you're breathing and living also. So how is it actually?
No, I don't think like see academics at IIT is relative. So in the sense that the grading A B C D E everything is relative. So everybody
Mhm.
is doing bad, so nobody has to have any pressure. So like for
Okay.
example, if there's a 100 marks test and everybody is getting 20 marks, let's say, then a person who is getting 25 will be A, someone getting 22 will be B, and someone guessing. So you don't have to like really get 50, 60 or 80 marks, you know. So I don't think like nobody feels like there's any pressure to study at IIT once they're at IIT.
Okay.
Some people do study, but then they are also the toppers. But people do not try to be toppers. Like if you have seen also the movie five or the book 5 Point Someone, they did not try to be toppers. They were just five pointers, and they were happy doing that. And interestingly, in IIT, like even if you're 5 pointer in school, maybe you will be considered a bad child or bad influence. But in IIT, if you're also 5 pointer, but you are doing other things, interesting things, then you have a lot of weight and like recognition.
Uh-huh. I get it. I get it. So there's an kind of an ecosystem there. So how is the fun culture there? Music test, tech fest, other ways a student can get an outlet or some sanity. How is the whole scene there?
Yeah. So so like I said, nobody studies. So most of the time, people are doing fun. But one thing about like nobody just studies, that's true. But at the same time, this is what I've seen in IITians in general also. Uh, that's why I think IITians favor other IITians when they are looking for some like for example, if an investor is IIT, he will probably be looking for other IITs to found a company, and they have certain trust in other IITs because in general, even if IITs are not good studying or good at studies or whatever, but I have in general always seen that they're hardworking and disciplined in whatever they pick to do. You know, so
Hmm.
there's a lot of fun activities, and of course there are a lot of clubs, and it's there in every college, of course. So people can take up those activities, or they can also watch movies and And in fact, in IIT, there is a thing that someone who does something, he does overdo. All people overdo things. So someone is watching music, maybe he'll be known for watching, listening to music, because he'll be listening so much music that he will be knowing all the artists, all the new artists, all the new songs, all the statistics and tracks and everything. So yeah, people do all kinds of things.
That's great, actually. That sounds amazing, actually. You know, that's beautiful. So for JEE, before IIT itself, how tight was your schedule? Did you have to go through many sleepless nights and literally grind through? What was it like? Please explain it for our viewers also.
So yeah, for me, I think it was lucky. So I will say that uh, this one achievement, IIT achievement, was something that came easy to me compared to like startups and all. It's much more harder because for as far as startup is concerned, like I was an introverted person, so selling is the main thing, and it's very hard for me. But as far as IIT was concerned, like I said, I was very good with maths right from childhood. And so 11th and 12th, it was much easier for me because everything was about maths and physics and chemistry. But chemistry was weaker part for me because again, it was not very aligned with my course strengths. So most of the
Mhm.
times, so I will not say that I did not study. I studied, of course, many hours every day, but that study was not something that I was studying to clear IIT in that sense. I was, of course, doing IIT JEE problems, but those problems were also something that I enjoyed, and I was known for that. I was very good at solving problems, and people used to bring problems, and they used to challenge me with these problems, and I used to solve these problems. So I remember, like, we were three people in the back bench of school. So we not used to study at the school topics, and we were actually very bad with other topics like English or computer science. At that time, computer science, we were not giving a lot of weightage. We just liked maths and physics. So people used to give us difficult problems, and in our backbench, we used to hide from the teachers and solve these problems all the time. So we did a lot of hard work, but it did not seem like hard work. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, that's great, actually. So you feel you're wired for equations and maths, calculus, and so on?
Right. So that time it was so, but eventually, I think I'm also very. I've learned over time that I'm also very practical oriented person. Like if it has a practical purpose, then I get more interested in it. So once I got into IIT, maths did not have any practical purpose, so I did not continue it further. But definitely, I had a lot of inclination towards maths and, like you said, solving questions and solving problems.
That's great, actually. What was your group in IIT, and why did you specifically choose to join that group, or were you, stuffed into that group or something like? Basically, what department, were you in?
Oh, I was in electrical engineering department, and
Okay.
yeah, so I got when I cleared IIT, I got 188 rank. So
Uh-huh.
in that rank, if I tried for computer science, I do not know if I would have got, because computer science usually closes in 150 or 160. But I was also the topper in the first year, so I could have changed my branch to computer science. Um,
Hmm.
I think I chose electrical engineering because I was fascinated by electronics and I wanted to build robots and stuff like that. But of course, eventually you learn that that theoretical studies at IIT is very different from actually making practical stuff. And practically, computer anything building, so making anything with electronics is very hard to make because um, making writing software program is much easier. Actually, it gets give much more feedback. Your equipment is easily available, and so I think that was a mistake I made. But whatever.
Okay. So, I mean, I've heard someone say, actually, this is a scientist who I've been following for a long time. So what he said was that when you're really good at a certain thing, actually, like people complain on the internet, why did I kyun pada maine, like, for example, sine theta, cos theta, where is it going to apply in my real life? And like, why do I have to be stuck doing this stuff, like, when it has no this thing? But the scientist then said it actually enables the wiring of your mind to solve those problems and further problems, and also helps further the science, the progress of science. So we, as human beings, we have to just learn these things. And this is what he said. His name is Neil deGrasse Tyson. So, do you think this in your life, actually, let's forget about humanity, but in your life, you feel, let's say, sine theta, cos theta, calculus, integration, differentiation, or even electronical, like understanding voltage differences, potential differences, all these things actually helps you some way in your life, or what degree do you see it helping you right now where you are? Or
I think it's a more broader sense. Like I'm just taking it on a more broader context, but you'll understand how I mean it. Most of the IITians, if you talk to, nobody actually praises that what we studied at IIT was very valuable. So, I mean, the professors at IIT try to show like how we are giving some top-notch education, but nobody likes among the IITians who graduated and go out to do their things even while they're in IIT. Nobody praises the education there, and nobody says that IIT helped me because I got such good education. So, so on that sense, I think in like to specific to your question, I do not think it has any correlation in any utility in my life. But more like what allowed me to do those things is also what I'm using those things in a different way when I'm trying to do business.
great, actually, what allowed you to do those things actually? And
I think like it's a more psychological question, more deeper psychological question or neurology. Someone has to study that more deeply, but maybe it's about like problem solving is about having a lot of things, disconnected things, and they are connected by one small, like they have a central converging point, and but that converging point is not given to you. So
okay,
to figure
you have to
out,
search for that.
yeah, that searching for that convergent point is that problem solving skill. That, oh, I have seen so many things, how are they related? And once you understand that governing principle, then everything is explained by that.
Mhm. Okay, I'll use this point actually later on during the interview, a few minutes later. Okay, so uh, great. I wanted to go to something a little more fun, right, for our viewers. Any crazy stories, incidents that happened on campus during your college years?
I don't know what kind of crazy you want, but one of the, I mean, maybe I think
Any
the question
crazy,
you are,
any flavor
yeah,
of crazy?
yeah, I think the question you are asking more like in the sense of like something fun that people did like 3 days or, but I am not able to remember anything. But what sticks to my mind is like we had a lot of monkeys in our college. So one guy, like the monkeys, one guy actually jumped from the third floor because he was being chased by a monkey, and
Oh
so
God.
but luckily he had only a broken leg, but yeah, but he developed some permanent problem in that leg. But permanent problem, I mean, little limp in walking, but yeah, that is one of the crazy things that happened during my time.
I would
I
have
mean,
chosen the monkey, yeah, rather than jumping from the third floor.
yeah. Mm, but after that, like initially there were a lot of monkeys, but after that they did something to remove all the monkeys. I don't know how they did it, but they were able to remove all the monkeys.
Great, actually. So
Yeah, I'm not able to
you
remember
see,
anything like some kind of like people, like maybe you are looking for some story like where someone blasted a bomb somewhere, or not a bomb or a pataka, but firecracker. But I don't remember any such things.
uh, I saw a video recently of I think it was an IIT people shooting uh, firecrackers into each other's dorm room like that. Like probably two buildings were adjacent and they were just like kind of doing some kind of a thing. And
Okay. Yeah, I
yeah,
think one of the such interesting things. One of them I remember that like people didn't in IT. It's very common that people do not attend classes. So one time one professor said that I will take a test during one of the classes. I will not tell in which class, you know. I will take the test. And those tests are actually added to the cumulative marks added. So nobody wants to miss the test because they will lose out on the entire score. So
uh-huh.
that was a strategy to, get people to come to the class. But what people
Oh
did was,
God.
so in IIT there are big lecture halls, so there are multiple entrances. Some can enter from the front, also some people can enter from the back or the side. So what people choose to do was they did not they used to sit outside the class near the door, but not inside the class. So they waited
Uh-huh.
that if there's a test, then they will come inside and then take the test. So like this investor got so irritated by that behavior that he said he actually finally declared that, oh, I will not take any surprise test now. I will only take declared test. Yeah, because people were constantly coming in, seeing if there's a test and going outside again. But you have to actually imagine the classroom, how it is to understand this, because it's a very big lecture hall, almost like a movie theater where 400 people sit at a time. So people can actually do that, and investor can like this. Uh, Teacher, instructor cannot actually individually, scold everyone, or so they are actually like on a small stage from there where they're study teaching. So
Uh-huh. That's great, actually. That's great, actually. So there was no like minimum attendance percentage or anything like that.
it was not enforced by the institute, but an individual instructor could enforce in his class. Yeah.
Oh gosh, I so I understand actually how some professors might have been like really
Yeah.
strict.
Some were very particular about. Some did enforce it, and some did not. But mostly
Uh,
did not. Only like 0.1% people enforce it.
uh-huh. So for someone actually, imagine like every student is before he joins IIT or NIT or anything, he is like a customer, right? So what is the USP, if you can just put it very shortly, in a very concise and succinct way, like what is the difference between joining IIT and joining uh, NIT or Manipal or BITS or something like that? What would you say is the IIT secret sauce?
I think there's no difference other than the brand. Like it has more brand recognition, IT. Otherwise, there's no other difference.
Okay, no other difference.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, great actually. Anyway, listeners, this is for you. Make your choice wisely.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I want to move on to another topic actually. Something related to ambition and also uh, something closer to philanthropy or something like that. I heard someone say mankind is lazy until something captures his heart. So, what captured your heart to go through the severe grind that you did? What motivated you?
Which grind you're talking about? The
I would
IT?
say, I would say everything actually, starting from preparation for IIT, the JEE, going through IIT, coming out. So, what took you through? What were you aiming at? Or what
Yeah, I think
guided?
at the IIT time also, like I said, maths. I like maths, so I think I like complex problems that other people are not able to solve, and I liked solving them.
Okay, you feel you have a competitive advantage in the fact that you're wired to solve problems, wired to
Right.
find connections and so on.
Right.
Okay, that's amazing. That's great, actually. I absolutely have to ask this question. You can choose to answer it or not. Uh, so, so it's kind of a personal question. Okay, we're in this game for the same reason, right? Entrepreneur to entrepreneur speaking. Everyone on this channel also is here. We are actually members of a kind of a cult. Whether we've met each other or not, the moment you say entrepreneur, everyone's here for the same reason, to be wealthy, right? And Upstream, the reason I named my channel is Upstream is because we are trying to go against the stream to a place where there is wealth. Uh, so I have an ambitious net worth in mind for myself in my head actually. So I want to ask you this question: can you tell me an exact figure I want to reach here, or maybe if you don't want to say that, give a picture, maybe a more metaphorical picture or a numerical figure.
Yeah, I think it's a mm, question that I've thought about, and so it changes with time and age, and I've seen this change with everyone with age. So I think when we are younger, we always think more big. So at that time, some like people who are trying to do entrepreneurship in their 20s, 21, 22, they always have this number that they want to become billionaires. But but now I am like 20 years. I think I graduated around 15 years ago, or a little bit more. So by the time you come to my age, you have already seen a lot, and you have seen how time passes and how world is structured, And I one of the things also that you recognize is luck is a big part of everything that you do. So as of now, when I do my startup now, I do not while doing the startup, I do not exactly do it for money. I it's more about like you like doing this thing and this is the only way to keep on doing this thing. At the same time, yeah, there is a number in your head which you try to track. And I think for me, I think but there are multiple numbers at the same time. So yeah, I will be happy with just like getting some 50 to $60,000 a year salary and be able to do these things. And then in 2 to 3 years, maybe if 2 millions or 3 millions I can get, that is another bonus. And of course, if it gets bigger, then I would definitely like to see it become as big as like, you know, Salesforce. So yeah,
Okay.
that's the answer.
Okay. So yeah. So basically, you're modeling yourself. If I were to ask you who you're modeling yourself after, would I be right in saying you're trying to model after Salesforce?
See, one of the one so one thing to understand is like when you're choosing an idea, choosing a
Mhm.
particular domain or something, every idea, even in the start, you can say that it cannot become that big. So one of the things that is known in the entrepreneurship is that the B2B never becomes as big as B2C companies, in
Okay.
terms of valuation. So
Uh-huh.
so now I am in B2B, so that choice I've already taken so I cannot now dream of becoming, as of now with this startup, becoming a billionaire or but yeah, so I think the biggest B2B company is Salesforce, so that's why I said Salesforce.
Okay. That's amazing. That's amazing, actually. So on to another thing. Okay, right. With regard to students and so on, and something a little more younger, out of the stream of entrepreneurship or something. Suicides are the Indian version of North American, or let's say US gun violence, right? Kota, Rajasthan witnessed 23 suicides this year. Kota is the coaching capital of India. So why is this happening, actually, according to you?
I do not know. I never thought about it. Is it happening only now? Maybe because the students are having more freedom they have more means and opportunity to do this. But I don't think it's a problem with quota. It's probably a problem with Indian society and parenting. That,
Uh-huh.
but maybe when people were living at home with parents, they had less opportunity to do that. And also, I think now with the social media, there's much more comparison thing going on. So we see Mark Zuckerberg on TV, and we kind of feel like we're interacting with him, because maybe there are people like not Mark Zuckerberg, but other people like who are like multi-millionaire or billionaire who are showing every aspect of their life, daily life. Maybe even my channel, you can see me growing from zero, and maybe one day I become big. So you see people in a more intimate way, and you kind of connect with them and kind of feel that you can also achieve that, and there's someone like your brothers and sister who are doing it. But then we forget that actually they are very far away, and they are one in millions of people who are getting that kind of success. So that comparison, I think, is setting a lot of bad extra expectations both in maybe parents and students. So
Mhm.
Baiju, people see Baiju as someone who came from a village and became big, but then he's like 1 crore. But because we are able to see his story in such detail, we think that he and us are very similar, in a very similar path and very similar journey. But it is not about Baiju being so smart and so enterprising. It's also about some luck factors, like being the right place at the right time, and things just favored him in certain way. Mm. That we are not able to recognize, and that puts pressure on you, because you can probably earn like 2 lakh rupees and be happy. 2 lakh rupees a
Mhm.
month, or even a 2 lakh rupees a year can be actually a pretty good income. But you will not be happy even at 1 crores a year, because you think that, oh, Baiju earned 2000 crores, and what am I doing in my life?
Uh-huh. So I just want to see, from my point of view, when people, just commit suicide because they didn't get through an exam, or because of ambition, whether you want to become like Byju's or something, uh, these students, they have not seen anything about life, and then they just go and throw away their life because of not achieving something which I haven't even achieved one tenth of what they've achieved, right? And
Mm.
to me, being a 30-year-old, it just seems comical to me. It seems cartoonish to me that they would actually do that. What word of advice on your side would you put to parents or even children who are going through what I call the Ganiras or sugarcane machine, known as the Indian education system? What would you say to them?
Mm, f- First of all, like I'm not really sure whether suicides are happening because of this. Maybe it's a different issue. We have to really uh, study them in more detail. Sometimes it's like, of course, media likes to present it because of that. It's education system which is causing these suicides, but it's probably not that straightforward. There's probably mental health issues caused by overconsumption of TikTok, or maybe there's also drug and alcohol issue in Kota. We never know,
Uh,
you know.
uh,
So, so
so, do you think it's an OD? People are ODing on alcohol or something like that, or
not ODing, but it is affecting the mental health in general, and that is causing depression and suicides.
okay, I understand cortisol levels. Okay, yeah, all that plays into a factor. Okay, so I wanted to move on to something of a more ambitious thing. What are some good books you would recommend for entrepreneurs, founders, technocrats, coders, basically anyone in the game of company building? What are some good
Yeah,
books?
I think the best book I can think of is, I think probably you also mentioned in one of your videos, is Lean Startup.
Uh-huh.
I think if I have to
Like, yeah.
recommend one, then I recommend that one.
Okay,
Yep, that one.
still going through it. Yeah. And anything else like that on those lines? Inspirational books, motivational books, anything like that?
Yeah, I think I got a lot of inspiration out of one book, which was I don't Made in America. It was Sam Walton's story, Walmart story. So mm, that one is, I think, another good book that I can recommend.
That's great, actually. Any podcasts that appeal to you? Podcast interviews, online shows, content.
No, I have not been watching any podcasts or content. I don't remember.
Okay, that's great, actually. Who are the top five influential figures in your life that all of us can listen to or can access? Top five.
Hmm. Five is actually a too many number. I do not know if I'm or too little in that sense. Like either there's too many
Okay.
people. But for me, like I have not been following like big people uh, more recently. Like more recently, I think I don't follow uh, big people. I try to learn small things from small people, like whatever, because for me, as of what I've learned in my life, is like it's not important to learn in a more generic sense to succeed, but more specific thing, that I'm in Toronto and I'm an Indian guy in Toronto. So what other Indian guys in Toronto are doing in business is more important to me than learning what Steve Jobs did in 19 maybe 2000, or to 2010. So that's why I think it's more important for me to learn from the people around me than from big people. But this also because I'm maybe older. So 10 years, before 30 and before 10 years ago, maybe, I was reading a lot of books and trying to understand, but I'm not sure whether that's the right way to get started with, especially if you're in entrepreneurship.
Mhm. Okay, that's great, actually. Your top three movies, which you can name off the top of your head.
Yeah, once again, like I have not been watching movies, and so I have not watched any movie in last 1 or 2 years. But when I was younger, I used to watch a lot of these few movies quite often. I mean, the same movie again and again. So one was Fight Club, Another
Right.
was Lord of the Rings, and another was Godfather.
Godfather. Ah, nice, nice. Okay, your top three video games
So
of all
video
time.
games, I played a lot during the second or third year in college, and I significantly, like, I from topper to, like, at the bottom, I went, like, from maybe I was in 10 pointer to 6.8 SPI while playing this Counter Strike. So from there on, I stopped playing completely. So last game I played was Counter Strike, and I don't know if it still exists or not, but it was there 15 years ago, 15 or 20 years ago. So I
Uh-huh.
play video games, and I don't recommend anyone playing video games.
Uh-huh. Okay. Don't recommend. CS addiction, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Any three your favorite music albums or songs or something like that? Any top three?
No, I don't listen to music.
Okay,
That's
okay. Even though you were a music entrepreneur,
so that
right? At a
period,
certain.
only during that period, I listened to music, and yeah, so yeah, there were a lot of good songs. I like the old songs. Uh,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I liked old melodious songs, and then of course I liked a lot of Arjit Singh songs. So
Uh-huh.
and
That's
whatever,
great, actually.
yeah. So I had a music app. A lot of people used to sing songs, and a lot of times those songs were not from popular artists like Arjit Singh or Bollywood
Uh-huh.
singers, but there were some songs which would pick up here and there, and yeah, there were a lot of good songs. So, but on a more generic sense, yeah, I like Kishore Kumar songs and Rafi songs and Arjit Singh
Uh-huh.
songs.
That's great, actually. So, I wanted to just, ask two last questions actually to wind up this whole session. And one of those questions is a more technical question, and the next question is more general. A little more Gyan based. But we'll go for the technical question first. Uh, So there's this thing called exponential growth, which has helped these companies. For example, WhatsApp, they've relied on network effects in the sense, uh, let's say a small focus group gets it actually. Probably the minimum viable product, they just get that product. Let's say like 100 people get it. And, like one person shares it with two of his friends actually. Hey, join WhatsApp. And then they join, you know, further, 8 people, and 8 get 16, 32, 64, 256, and so on. So what do you think is the scope, or what do you think, coming down in a very granular way to that one share that happens, right? And I think most of the companies are optimizing that one share, that sharing process, and immediately someone gets it actually. So my question is, if I can frame it correctly, what gets a person to accept or share something?
I think people have written books on it, and I don't remember the name of the book, but I think I also read some book around it. But I because I'm not right now in that kind of startup right now, so I don't remember. But I think usually people, there are a lot of reasons for it. So maybe they want recognition for showing something cool to other people. That they were the ones who discovered it, and so that is one way. Another can be like they want, so a lot of, like, these companies like Google Pay and all, they give incentive to share, like, referral codes, and both of you will earn money. So I think there's not probably one reason, but there can be different reasons for it. But I think more psychological level is like that person who is sharing should get either a good emotion out of it, or some kind of monetary reward, or some kind of his own profile builds up. So people share on Twitter because they also get likes and all when they share something.
Okay, so you're bringing it down to two basic motivators. One is the emotional motivator, another is money motivator.
Yeah.
So if these two things are there, in the sense they look cool, or they get some kind of gratification, or they actually get paid. So that's what you call it. Is that so?
Right, right.
So, Ashwin, thank you so much. I wanted to ask you one final question. Okay. We want to wind up with a few lines from you to the young people watching this video on the Upstream channel. Like I said, this is a channel for young founders and young businesswomen and businessmen. What is the Ashwin Gyan? What should we know to get a correct view or attitude towards life?
Okay, right.
Clear it.
So uh, this is an advice for young businessmen and young entrepreneurs, uh, but also it's a more generic thing. I think I would like to say that while you're trying to achieve so many things, but always remember that happiness is not dependent on these achievements. And everybody talks about they want to be happy, but uh, are you really trying to do things to make you happy, or are you doing things for other reasons, like making your ego bigger, or or maybe showing someone down, or whatever. But happiness is actually very simple and doesn't require you to achieve a lot of things. And you can even be in a small room jail room, and you can be happy in that. So focus on that, and that should be the priority.
That's amazing. So, in summation, happiness is something we can experience now. It's not an end result of something, but happiness is the journey. Enjoy the journey. Would that be a nice way to put it?
Yeah, maybe it's a good way to put it, right? So in the end, by achieving whatever you're planning to achieve, you will not be happy. So make sure that you seek happiness in the journey. I think that's a good way to put it.
That's great, actually. So thank you so much, Ashwin, for your invaluable wisdom, your knowledge, and your experience. I like to think, there are many people right now. There are lakhs of students right now planning to stand in the place where you stood, actually, which is as an IIT graduate and as a pass out. Simply to even set foot in IIT, many people are in one of the IITs of India. Many people are actually competing head to head, and you're a person who has got out and who's on the other side of it as well, reaping the benefits of what you did. So it's amazing to just have a conversation with you and learn so much. And I hope the guys on Upstream channel who are watching this can learn so much and possibly rewatch this video several times. And Ashwin, all the best to you with your startup, with your Salesforce style startup. I hope like when you get to your peak, we'll probably have many more conversations before that as well, and possibly there as well. And I know it will be 10x better than what we just gained here. So thank you so much, and hope to catch you soon.
Hi, you're welcome. It was a pleasure coming here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Please subscribe and share our link to other ambitious minds. You sharing this means you are a leader. Thank you and see you again.